With a smug grin, she fed the resume straight into the shredder, while he adjusted his worn-out MAGA hat with an expression so calm it was almost unsettling. Another second, and she'd be back to sipping her coffee, blissfully unaware that she'd just trashed more than paper. She'd shredded her own career. If only she'd bothered to read the name under company owner. Let's rewind to where it all went off the rails. The HR office at Pinnacle Enterprises was buzzing. It was Friday morning, and employees were filing in and out with coffee cups, phones glued to their ears. But in the center of the chaos sat Amanda Reeves, 32, the queen of corporate gatekeeping. She had sharp eyes, a sharper tongue, and a stack of resumes she was ready to tear apart. Literally. Across the desk from her stood Peter Callahan, 58. He wasn't flashy. His clothes were simple, a crisp white shirt and clean slacks, but there was one thing that stood out, his faded red MAGA hat. Amanda took one look at the man, adjusted her sleek glasses, and plastered on a fake smile. "Mr. Callahan, correct?" He nodded politely. She gave the resume in her hand a glance so brief it bordered on insult. "Interesting choice of headwear," she quipped. Peter raised an eyebrow. "Didn't realize hats were a problem." Amanda chuckled, flipping through his resume. "Well, let's see. Retired, no recent corporate experience, and—" She trailed off, eyes scanning the paper. Then, with dramatic flair, she sighed and tossed the resume onto her desk. Peter leaned forward. "Is there a problem?" Amanda smirked. "Look, I'll be honest. This company is a fast-paced, forward-thinking environment. I just don't see how someone like you fits in." He stared at her, his expression unreadable. She reached for her coffee, speaking casually as though dismissing people was her favorite hobby. "Frankly, we're looking for candidates who align better with our company culture." Peter didn't move. His voice was calm but firm. "You didn't even read the whole thing." Amanda laughed. "I didn't have to." And, just like that, she grabbed the resume, walked to the shredder in the corner, and fed it into the machine. The whirring sound filled the room as Peter watched, his jaw tightening ever so slightly. Amanda turned back to him with a grin. "Thank you for coming in." Peter stood, adjusted his hat, and looked her dead in the eye. "You're going to regret that." Amanda rolled her eyes. "Sure, Mr. Callahan. Have a great day." The weekend passed uneventfully. By Monday morning, Amanda was back at her desk, fully caffeinated and ready to conquer another pile of applications. She was mid-sip of her latte when her phone rang. "Amanda Reeves, HR. How can I help you?" The voice on the other end was brisk and professional. "Amanda, we need you in the conference room, now." She frowned. Conference calls weren't unusual, but the urgency in the voice unsettled her. When Amanda entered the room, she froze. The CEO, Mark Feldman, sat at the head of the table, his expression unreadable. Around him were several department heads, all unusually quiet, and at the far end of the table sat Peter Callahan. His MAGA hat was gone, replaced by a sleek navy blazer. He looked every bit the part of a man in charge. Amanda's stomach dropped. Mark gestured for her to sit. "Amanda, this is Mr. Callahan. As of Friday, he finalized the acquisition of Pinnacle Enterprises. He's the new owner." Amanda's face drained of color. What?" Peter leaned back in his chair, a faint smirk on his lips. "Funny thing about life, Ms. Reeves. Sometimes the people you write off end up writing your paycheck." Her heart raced. Mark cleared his throat. "Mr. Callahan has asked to review all recent hiring processes." Peter's eyes locked onto Amanda. "I'm particularly interested in how you handle resumes." The review was merciless. Amanda spent hours justifying her hiring decisions, her confidence crumbling with each passing minute. Peter sat through it all, calm and unflinching, occasionally asking pointed questions that made her squirm. Finally, he stood. "Let's cut to the chase." Amanda swallowed hard. "Mr. Callahan, He raised a hand, silencing her. "I don't run my companies based on politics or personal bias, but what you did wasn't just unprofessional. It was outright disrespectful. Shredding someone's resume without even reading it. Dismissing them based on appearances. That's not the culture we're building here." Her voice wavered. I didn't mean..." Peter's tone remained steady. "Intent doesn't matter. Actions do." He handed her an envelope. "Effective immediately. Your services are no longer required." Amanda stared at him, disbelief etched across her face. "You're firing me?" Peter nodded. "Consider it a lesson in humility." As security escorted her out, Amanda cast one last glance at Peter. He was already flipping through a stack of resumes, his focus unwavering. For Peter, it wasn't just about revenge. It was about setting a standard. And Amanda? She became a cautionary tale, a reminder that underestimating people can come at a very high price.